What's up, guys? This is Frenzy. Welcome back to another episode of Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start out with Sir Sikshimupi, something like that. Castle level 20, so I'll go on my archer and see what he's got. Alright, so let's see what this pulls. If anything, it's pulling right here. Looks like maybe the room that I have set up for multi-pulls. And we gotta pull back a little bit because there's a feet pound more. Alright, so I feel like this probably works pretty well for, like, especially against knights. I'm not sure about the derps though. I feel like if a knight auto attacks or a archer uses volley, they'll just clear out the derps. I guess you kind of want maybe some like cannon fodder against archers or something like that. But I think that a better situation would be to try to get the Pete enraged, or using howl from a bad dog. So either like an enrager puppeteer, even a medic puppeteer, or a bad dog would probably work pretty well in replacing those derps. Alright, so you have kind of a Dr. Skull with the Resurrect here, and I'll see where that pull actually pulls you into. It looks like it might just pull you into a bunch of derps, which is okay, especially if you have, the Dr. Skull back out of the way a little bit. If you get pulled into the derps and get surrounded, you're probably going to have to kill those, and then maybe something gets resurrected around you and you're still surrounded. I'm not sure exactly how well this is going to work for you, because overall, like, derps and the skeletons that Dr. Skull spawns are pretty low level and pretty weak, so it probably wouldn't kill anyone, but maybe it'd be annoying. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I kinda like that, actually. That's pretty neat. The Jimbo is kind of weird though with the like shield. I don't know. I almost prefer, because you have those charging at you, and it's a pretty, like, if they do damage to, like I did, they do damage to the rams, it's pretty reasonable to expect that they'll get slammed down from that. So maybe combined with that stun, you could get Jimbo to hit his overhead swing. The only other thing I could say is maybe replacing it with like archers or something, but that would make the room a lot weaker. Putting like archers in the back here, so that, if those guys get their slams down, then you could have 3 archers that all get, 2 headshots apiece, which would do a reasonable amount of damage. But yeah, I don't really like the Jimbo with his like shield thing. I don't think it's really worth it. He's kind of slow, so like if archers have any form of CC, they can stand close enough, and knights will just wreck him. He won't do enough damage to them to make a difference. So like Bad Dog with Robo Shieldatron, like Robo Shieldatron doesn't do any damage, so it doesn't matter that this guy's enraged. I could just stand here, and you have like 2 enragers here, and you're really just trying to enrage this, and I could literally stand here until my reflect damage kills this guy from the enraged. Like, he's killing himself faster than he's killing me. So I think that like boosting attack speed of a unit that's meant to be tanky isn't really going to work out the way you want it to. Personally, like, you could change your thing to medic, which would make it a little bit better, or you could just, scrap these and maybe Defendatron or Hungerbot or something that will take a little bit more time if you want to use it for time wasting, or if you want to use it for damage dealing, I'd say replace the Robo Shieldatron with something that'll do more damage, like a Scorpio or Archers or even Cyclops. Alright. That's actually pretty neat, because people that see this killer crab, like, a lot of the time I'll expect the killer crab to not be with so many extra mobs, because it doesn't look like a 5-point mob, right? It's huge. It looks like an elite, but really it's only 5 points. So combining that with like your pull, people are going to try to like fight that. Maybe like do an auto attack plus a headshot before they pull back. and a lot of the time they might get pulled by that. So it kind of increases the chances of you being pulled while sacrificing like the damage from it. And then you combine that with the jelly trap, which is good as well. So I don't mind that too much. It's kind of messing with people's heads though. I think as people get better and better at, you know, knowing the point values, they'll probably won't get caught by that all that much. Alright, this looks like they're probably both going to charge into me. Let's see, yeah. The problem with this is that even if those charges did hit, I'd be worried about the Cyclops helping me dodge your pull right there. Let's see what exactly you pulled me into. You probably just are pulling me into this. Yeah, I'm not sure how you could set this up a bit differently. But, like, as you saw right there, is kind of, I still got hit by the Cyclopses, but the hook wasn't quite long enough to reach me after the Cyclopses pushed me back. Although I was already starting to run backwards, so maybe if someone enters the room more. But even then, I'd be worried about a Cyclops like hitting you on the side or something, and then forcing the dodge from the hook as well. This is a good room to have your mines in, though. I do like that. I'm not sure what you could change. Like, mine is a little bit different, whereas I'm relying on just the hook hitting, and I'm not trying to force the hook to hit all that much. But if it hits, I have it set up so that it's pretty much going to kill anyone with, you know, under 3,000 hit points. So, I'm not sure if you could set it up to just, like, rely on the hook a bit more, or, I don't know. But yeah, I think that the Cyclopses probably help you dodge it a little bit more than you want them to. Alright, so I'm not really sure of the purpose of the bad dog. The rest of this I think is okay as long as it's working for you. You know, it is going to resurrect a lot of units, but then once people start using good AoEs, if like an archer comes with volley, they shouldn't have much of a problem. And then Knight's auto attack generally hits about, you know, 4 to 6 mobs, and they should be 1 to 2 shotting them. And then they can also, you know, use their lashing thing to pull the Dr. Skull to them and kill that off, and just end the constant wave. So I mean, that whole thing would be meant to be used as a time waster, and if it's not wasting a good 30 seconds, it's probably not worth keeping, I would say. Okay, so I mean, this, I can kind of see it. I don't think there's much you could do unless you had your boss room going towards the south, because that would put, you know, the thing under my skill bar. But as it is now, I can kind of see everything. That being said, I just will probably hit this and then pull all the way back. And then, if I were to get thrown, it would throw me into Captain Clubbage. I've actually never seen him. This is the first time I've ever seen Captain Clubbage, so I have no idea what to expect. But I know what I'm going to try to expect is a headshot to the face. That's going to do half damage, and then when he's doing that... and then you have Enrager Puppeteer as well. So I think that's a bit overkill. I think that you need either the Bad Dog or the Enrager. And then I don't think you're quite high enough for dampeners yet, but when you get to dampeners, I would say remove one of the other units, and then you'd have Force Supply. Right? You did have like a derp, yeah. So I would say remove one of the derps and the Bad Dog, and then add in a dampener when you have time. For now, I don't know, maybe an archer in the back or something, just add a DPS. Or you could remove the Enrager Puppeteer, either one of them, I would say. But I think it's a bit overkill to like go for Howl and Enrage. Alright, so we'll jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, and for number 2 we have LiquidZues, cast level 23, so this could be a slight challenge for my archer, but we'll see. Alright, Dampener and a Scorpio. Okay, so this is a lot like my first room, except obviously it's a different room, but the minions are the same. I would say maybe if you could move the pull on it a little bit farther back, because what you notice is that well, then again, you do have a Scorpio, so you kind of want to pull through the mousetrap and then have them go back over it. Alright, I think that's fine actually, yeah. I think it's all set up pretty well. That should do very well at like wasting time and stuff. Alright, and it's another Scorpio with an archer. So if archers want to know how to deal with Scorpios, you just dodge their hooks. You get the timing down and you just dodge hooks and they'll never do any damage to you. But all in all, I think the room is fine. Maybe moving your archer back a little bit, because they have quite long range. Unless you had it on like traps or something, but as long as he's on headshot, or well, headshot really has the longest range. So that, you know, the Scorpio and the archer can't get hit in like one volley or something. Okay. So again, I can use this corner here. Well, I messed up the timing, but I can use this corner to kind of dodge all of his hooks if I was playing well, but it doesn't matter too much. I do like the idea that it comes up and you get pulled into the jelly wall there. Alright, let me go this way because I already pulled something this way. This looks like it's going to be a pull onto a spike trap, if I had to guess. So I still think that's set up fine. It's probably a bit more annoying for knights because they can't just, you know, roll through that. But yeah, I think it's okay. It would definitely do a lot of damage if they got pulled by it. I actually really like how this is set up. Like, if they get pulled, they're going to take at least 1 or 2 ticks of damage from this. That's about 600, and then all of the Stairmasters should kill them 100% of the time. And I'm guessing you have one set up over here. The problem is it's skippable. So, I don't know if you can do anything to change that, but obviously you don't want things to be skippable. I like the positioning on all of your spike traps. I think it's pretty good. That's one thing that spike traps are really good for now, is that they're so big that you can deny vision with them. Like, I'd want to hug that wall to see what's coming next, but because of this, I can't. Alright, so you kind of had a springboard trap set up, but I'm not sure if it's working properly. Like, that seems like a really long hook right there. That seems like it's a little bit farther than a Hungerbot's range to me. But I guess, I mean, if you've tested it before, you know, I would just say make sure. And then that would probably throw me into this group, which has a flanking Scorpio. I think that's fine. There's kind of an added chance where if I get thrown, the Scorpio could come around and maybe like pull me back into it or something, I don't know. Alright. Oh, I'm gonna get hooked by this. No, I'm not. Alright, so that's not set up quite well. Or quite, I don't know. It's not set up the way you want it to be. Because it kind of auto-dodged for me. You need like a slightly longer delay on your second Hungerbot. Either moving him farther back, which I don't think you can do, or turning him a little bit more. Yeah, it might also be just because I was kind of hugging this bottom wall. You might be expecting people to like hug the top or something like that, and that's the problem with not having any chokes before a pull like this. Alright, and I'm guessing this would have thrown me up this way. Which I just want to make sure that this isn't skippable. Like, do you have your dungeon going down? Yeah, it looks like that might... No, maybe not. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Because if that's the case, you'd have 2 groups now that I've skipped, which obviously you don't want. You know, that's a good portion of your defenses that people are just going to be able to walk around if they, you know, get out of your traps. So let's just see. It looks like your dungeon does go down this way. Okay, so like I've said about vamps before, I don't really like them. I think they don't do enough damage for the supply. And then you had 2 Enrager Puppeteers. I'm not sure, maybe they weren't on Enrage, but if they were, I feel like that's overkill, right? You have 9 supply out of 20 that is in non-attacking units, 2 Enragers and a Dampener. Or actually, that's 10 supply. So that's a lot of supply that you have, half of a circle that doesn't do any damage whatsoever, doesn't tank all that well. I think you need to like remove some of that and add in some more damage dealers or something like that to make it effective. It seems like you have random springboard traps that aren't really ever going to get hit. Like I don't know if that could have possibly been set up because I aggroed this group back over in here, so there's no way that this Hungerbot is going to have line of sight on me regardless, even if I just stand there. And I don't think anyone's really just going to like charge into a room and like let you get pulled by it or anything. This one was probably set up well though, and then that's just going to throw me into the boss room. So yeah, I would say try to make your mob groups less skippable, and don't just have random springboard traps that aren't going to do anything for you. It's better to have either other traps, and looks like you have a 3 Scorpio boss room, so I'll have to be a little careful. But yeah, that's what I would say for the most part. Like, I guess if I'm kiting backwards, there's a chance that it gets used, but I don't know. Okay, that actually hooked me through the wall. That's interesting. I hate 3 Scorpio boss rooms. I think everybody does, but they're literally the only thing that has killed me in a very long time. And of course I'm gonna end up going to this non-used group and end up aggroing it or something. Alright, 1 should be fine. So I mean, obviously the 3 Scorpio boss room is good, it's a little cheesy, it'll get nerfed eventually. But I can't hate on people for using overpowered stuff. I don't want to use that specific one. Like, I've used Robo Shieldotrons back when they were kind of overpowered and stuff like that. I just don't really like the 3 Scorpio boss room, just because it's a little cheesy, but I mean, it's fine if you want to use it. Alright. So yeah, fix those unused mob groups and some of your springboard traps, and your dungeon will do a lot better. We'll jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and for number 3 we have Mr.PotatoFudge, level 19 castle, so I'll use my knight. And we'll jump into it here. So that's kind of cool. It was kind of a visual kind of pull. Like, I couldn't quite see the snotter very well there, so I kind of liked that. Like, I noticed it, but I think 90% of people wouldn't have noticed it. I was looking for a pull specifically in this area, and a lot of people would have just expected it to be down down here in this path. So that was kind of cool. Snotter placement. For the mob group itself, I could even almost go with like a debaser, or stairmaster I mean, corner over here, and pulling them through it. Just because it's set up pretty well. I think you'll hit people enough with it. And archers, I don't know, they're okay, but they don't really do killing blow worth of damage. And if you don't kill them, they can just throw down a potion, and then archers are pretty weak to just attacking. Like, stairmasters have more hit points and more resistance, so... Alright, so I mean, I can see this trap here. I don't know, I don't think you can really push it back at all, but I don't think anyone's going to get really caught by that. Like, let me take a look if you were just walking towards it. Maybe it's a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, if you're walking towards it, I guess, and you're hugging this wall or something, it gets blocked out by your skill bar. If you're smart and you kind of hug the wall to see what's coming beforehand. Like, you notice when I was walking into this room, I guess this is kind of an attacking tip as well. When I was walking into this room, I know how this room's laid out. It kind of goes down and around. So what I did is I kind of hugged this wall because I wanted to see what was coming on this corner as well as see what was coming down here. So like I get a little bit of extra information like that, and it takes me a couple extra seconds. Alright. So I think that's fine, except for the fact that I think it needs to be led by something else. Either you need to like pull back the puppeteer and put in a snotter or something like that up in here. Just because if somebody sees one puppeteer right here, they're gonna kill it before it actually does anything. So. Oh, you have that, alright. Yeah, I use this kind of setup as well. I think you have 1 point available to you in this group. So I'm not sure where these like little 1 point mob groups, like I don't know if you have just a random other group in your dungeon somewhere, but I would say again, maybe a spotter or something. Actually, Zeke's 12 and that's 5, so you'd have 3 points left over, so you could even add in like a bad dog or a enrager puppeteer with this group. And I would be fine with having the Zeke like out in front just a little bit because this guy's gonna be shielding him or something. Alright, again I saw that springboard trap as I was coming up. So if you can place him a little bit farther down or something like that, I'll take a look at it when I get into the room a bit more. Yeah, if you could either place it maybe farther back or like, I'm not sure. You should have level 4 hunger bots, so you should have a longer range than this. Even if you could place it 1 or 2 hexes down, like over here, and then have the hunger bot behind it, and if that still works out for you with the way that you want to use it, just so that it's a little bit farther under the skill bar and stuff like that. Like, obviously, if I hug this wall, like some people will do, I'll see it beforehand, but if I come up towards the top, you might get it blocked by the skill bar. Alright, so it looks like it's just a naked Robo Shieldatron. I'm okay with it because it... Well, I'm not sure what specialization he was on, to be honest. I think if you have just a naked one, you need to have the like longer shield, whatever that specialization's called, because that'll block some of the incoming damage. It seemed like he was on like defend a single target, which there's no other single target to defend. So you probably want to change that. Alright, again I saw that springboard trap beforehand. I mean, I think that this group is a pretty good time waster, especially with, you have it like combined with that springboard trap, so you have the possibility of aggroing 2 groups of mobs combined with the time wasting mechanic you had here, so I think that's fine. And then does this, no, it doesn't throw me into the boss room, it just throws me into this group. So it looks like maybe you just have a really long chain pull going on. I don't think when I kill that actually increases any attack speed, because he's not quite close enough. I mean, I think it's fine for a spotter, I suppose. This is a bit better just because even though I see it, I aggro it like right as I'm seeing it, I think. Maybe if you can move this back like a couple squares, but then you might be screwing up, you know, the timing between pulls or anything like that. It's hard to make these chain combos with each individual one not being able to be seen. So I mean, I would say that your castle is probably going to be relatively easy for people just because you have so many of these pulls. Generally, when you have a lot of pulls like this, it doesn't take nearly as much time to go through it if you miss the first one. Like, it's kind of a gimmick. If you get pulled by it, you're going to die 100%, but if you don't get pulled by it, it's going to make the castle a lot easier than it necessarily should be. I mean, I think it's kind of overkill. I think if you pull through 2 or 3 groups of mobs, if you set it up correctly, you should be able to kill anyone 100% of the time. So just having it pull through, you know, 5 or 6 groups of mobs, it's just overkill, and it's making it like unnecessarily easy. You could do a second one, or you could do a lot more, you know, solid double pulls through walls.